G'day. Just recording this about the wage subsidies. Unfortunately, we're having to look at them again because we're in lockdown. So it's 10 o'clock on Friday morning in Wellington, and I've just been looking around the MSD website because the applications are now open. To me, I think before you go rushing off and doing the claim, you've got to have a look through and make sure that you are actually eligible. If you look at this part here, decline in revenue, so essentially we're looking at a 40% decline from the period of 17th of August to the 30th of August. So it's a 14-day test. Originally, I thought they were going to do it over the week. So if we're in Wellington and you were shut for 3 days out of your week, or 3 out of your working 5-day week, then you would expect to be down by 40%. But over a 2-week period, it's quite possible that you might not actually be down by 40%. Although as I'm recording this, I was seeing that there might actually be a community case in Wellington, so we're going to have to wait till this afternoon to see what the announcement is from the government. But it's highly likely that we will stay at level 4 anyway. But I really think we probably should be waiting until we know that, until we can be more assured that your turnover is actually going to be down by 40%. So I'm just sort of going through a few sort of categories of it. Say if you're an accounting firm like us, for example, it's difficult to sort of ascertain whether you qualify. For example, we might be down turnover for the period simply because we were busy doing other stuff that we couldn't bill out. We've carried on and we've been able to carry on working from home. So if you're in a professional office sort of environment where you are able to work, it's most likely that you probably shouldn't be claiming for the subsidy. If you look at other sorts of clients of ours, for example, IT, contractors and management consultants, film industry workers. In fact, the film industry workers are probably different. So if we just focus on your professional, the IT sort of sector. If you're able to work from home, and many of you probably were anyway, then you in many cases might be unaffected, so all good. But if you were going into the office and you now can't, it might be difficult because you might do it like a monthly bill. So how do you work out if you're just down for two weeks in the month? So essentially what you'll be wanting to do is looking at like your timesheets or recording your hours and things like that. So if you'd normally bill for 20 days in the month, then you look at this 14-day period. Say if we're locked down for 2 weeks, it might be that your turnover is 0 for that 2-week period. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, that you probably best to actually sit there and wait, at least till this afternoon or perhaps early next week, just so you can be confident that your turnover is actually down. Obviously some sectors will be easy, like if you're physically locked off the site, if you're in the hospitality or something like that. Once again though, you need to look at how long you're locked down for. I originally thought that our hospitality clients, if they're locked down for 3 days this week, then pretty much they'd all be down by 40%, but when you're comparing it 3 days out of a 14-day period, you might not be. Builders and tradies and things like that, really what it's going to come down to is how long we're locked down. Once again, it might be difficult to see what your turnover would be because you might be working on a project for and bill at the end of each month, You might work extra hours when you come back onto the job, to try and catch up for the fact that you're locked off for a week or two. So once again, in that situation, you might want to go back to time sheeting, say, hey, I was only able to work so many days, and base it on that. So I mean, it is going to be difficult to tell for the fact that we're compared to a 2-week period. When we were looking at the subsidy in sort of March, April last year, we were looking at a month, which is more of a usual billing cycle for a lot of businesses, so it was a lot easier to tell. In this case, it's going to be a little bit uncertain, and you might need to just sort of think your way through it. One of the other things that it says in here is that if you look at the full declaration, you really got to work your way all your way through that. So it talks about what sorts of businesses are applicable, and none of this has really changed. What they do talk about is that you've got to go through steps to, with your, do some sort of reports and calculations. They're not asking you to send it to them, but I think you should go through the process anyway, just to work out, rather than just saying, oh, we're closed, I'm going to claim it. It might be as simple as sending me an email and saying, oh, Bruce, this is what I've done. Normally we've got 10 working days in the fortnight. We were closed down for 3, or we were closed down for 6. Normally I would have expected to work and bill X amount of time. We've only billed X, therefore our turnover is down by 40%. I think it's important that you actually go through that process yourself, just to calculate it, so that you can, if you're asked to prove it later on, you've got that information there. This is the bit I was talking about here, where you're actually signing a declaration when you apply for it, saying that you have prepared and retained evidence to support the declaration, okay? Rather than just running off and doing the application, and then if they do come back and ask for you to prove it, then having to go backwards and prepare it, yes, not a good look. So you need to go through this process first. That's the first. I'm going to do more recordings and stuff over the next few days, but that's my first one. I think the point I want to get across is that just hold fire. If you rush off and do the application today, you might receive the money sort of Tuesday, Wednesday next week. But just sort of hold off. I think even if it's till this afternoon, till we hear what the new announcements are, or even better, early next week. And as I said, I'll put more information up soon. So take care, everyone.